So going into high school, I had a very strong academic. Primary school, I was strong academically, and also with sport, it made a good balance. The high school I attended also had a good balance, and they seeked balance. And I remember it was weird going from an Afrikaans primary school to a majorly colored high school. Seeing people that look like you, seeing more people that look like you, and was kind of good, and it made you feel more welcome and more comfortable. I also remember when we played tennis in our junior years in grade 8 and grade 9, the, the tennis team consisted of Western Provinces number 1, Western Provinces 5 and 6, and me, who was Boland number 2 at the time. For those who don't know, in the Western Cape, there's kind of 3 different provincial factions. I know it's Western Province, Boland, and I always seem to forget what the other one is, but that's more like Hermanus and those type of areas. So our tennis team did really well. We were the first juniors to make it all the way to the highest league, and we really dominated all our tennis games. Tennis games were really fun and really cool because we all played well, and we all would just make jokes and play around whenever we played. It was just fun hanging out with the guys. Because we would play tennis at school, we would play tennis against one another on league on a Saturday, and then when there were tours during school holidays, we would all be playing against one another at tournaments and stuff like that. So we always saw one another, we all knew one another's games, which was really cool. During high school and university, I also wasn't the best student, and I even tell this to my students or kids today. I wasn't the best learner of things. I remember this very distinctly. During my first 6 months at high school, I ended up being 16th in the grade and then 12th in the grade. And then telling myself, oh, this is too easy. I'm not going to study for exams. And that's kind of what happened. And from there, I was like, oh, this is too easy. I'm just going to breeze through high school type of thing. And this kind of upset all my teachers because unlike some people, I had an ability to learn things very quickly. So I wasn't the best learner, but I was able to learn things very quickly. So if a concept was explained to me, I would remember it. If something was put on a board or I wrote something down, I would remember it. I could remember it exactly how it was. I always say I had a semi-photographic memory because if something was explained and I could see it, I would remember it, and I would remember it for a long period of time. So when it came to studying, I would always have maybe one sheet, and this I used to annoy my friends at university even. I would have maybe one sheet of paper with all the notes of things that I would miss, and just key points of things that would trigger certain memories for me to remember things. It was never like books of studying. I wouldn't sit for 10 hours studying. I would sit for a couple hours. I'll never get during some of my exams, taking notes for 45 minutes and then taking an hour and 15-minute break and then taking notes for 45 minutes again and then another hour and I was like, no, I'm done. So I could never study. I could never do that 5 o'clock in the morning studying till 2 o'clock at night. No, I was studying in the afternoon, finish studying by 8 in the evening, and then play games or do whatever to relax. My brain could just consume information really well. And this used to annoy my teachers. My teachers always used to tell me, when you used to have our evaluations every year or every term, Grant, you should be doing better. You should be in the top 10. You should be leading the subject. You need to study harder. You're not studying enough. You're doing well, but you're not studying enough. We can see that your performance, you've just been late. And yeah, I was lazy. I was a really lazy student. I was a really lazy student. And I even tell that to my kids today. Guys, don't be like me when I was at school. I wasn't the best student, but I could learn and grasp information really quickly. And that had me going from high school all the way to university. At university, my friends that I studied with used to get annoyed. We would go to the library and they come there with their books and they'll see me with my 1 or 2 pages and they'd be like, how are you passing exams? How are you doing passing the exams with this? But it's just the way I could grasp information. Even today, even with studying the course that I was busy doing now, the same concept happened. Same thing ended up happening. If I learned something or I heard something and I felt like I know something, I couldn't relearn it. I would feel a bit irritated trying to learn it, and my brain will just like shut off and say, hey, there's enough of this, you know this, stop what you're doing, it's not gonna work. And I remember a big case of this was during our final exams at university. And I remember we studied for the subject, I think it was biotechnology and diversity or something. Biotechnology and diversity. And I remember going to the paper and telling my friends that were with me, if there's 2 questions that are not in the paper, I'm gonna be writing the supplementary and I will get 100% for the supplementary. And they were like, no. I'm like, I'm not. I started spotting, picking out what to study because I didn't want to study all the content. So I would pick out what to study and be like, hey, I'm not gonna do well in the exam, but I'll do well enough to get my supplementary exam, and I'm gonna nail, because if these 2 questions do not appear in the normal exam, they're definitely gonna be in the supplementary exam. And that's exactly what happened. So I would spot the exams to make sure I get the right information to pass it on. Because I was, like I'm saying, I was very lazy student. I was a lazy studier. I should have done better at studying, but I just didn't enjoy it. And that's just how high school and university ended up being. Once I got to university, I also started playing tennis, and that's when the big grant started coming out. Because once I stopped playing tennis, that's when I stopped being as active as I wanted to be, and then time quickly caught up to it. I did end up starting to play action cricket after while I was in my last year at university. I started playing action cricket. So then action cricket became my thing, and then I played action cricket up until I think I played my last game of action cricket 2 days before I left South Africa. So high school and university were always fun. I always say it's always fun. It was good experiences. I mean, that's where you met most of my close friends that I still am close with today, and it also made me experience and learn new things. I mean, high school is where I realized I was good at mathematics. Hated mathematics with a passion. I didn't like it, but I could do it, and I was good at it. And I really hated mathematics. And I remember, I think it was in matric or grade 11, helping the person that ended up being the dux of the school, like 6 months later, and explaining concepts there and sitting and explaining. And they were like, how, because we were all in the same class, and they were like, but how are your marks so bad? You can explain these things so that I can understand it, but how are your marks so bad? And I was like, hey, look, I don't want to study. You want to study, you want to get, I didn't want to study. And that's kind of how my high school career was. Yeah, it was fun, it was busy, but yeah, also I must say the school I attended, they made us really strong for studying further. We were when I got to university, a lot of the concepts they were trying to teach us in university we already learnt in high school. So the preparation was really good, and that's when I did, like I said, I hated mathematics, but I enjoyed science, and that's when I decided to become a scientist. Gone was the dream of being a radio DJ. I then decided to become a scientist, and I studied microbiology and biotechnology. So I am qualified, finished my degree within 3 years, and yeah, I'm a BSc biotechnology degree person. So my base is in science, and that's why a lot of times when people speak to me, I'm very logical or very analytical about things because of the science background. Always try to justify, always try to explain things, always look for reasons why, and that comes from the science side of things. So that was high school and university. And remember, guys, you guys can always strive to be what you want to be. Never give up. Never go. One thing I also realized in high school is never giving up. Just keep going, keep pushing. Sometimes times are tough, but if you find something that you enjoy, chase it and go and do what you want to do. Sometimes you need to be a bit selfish, but always try and do what you want to do, what makes you happy. Because if you do what makes you happy, it won't feel like a job.